I want to talk about this because, well, for a couple reasons. Number one, Alex Jones is trending like crazy on Twitter, now known as X, and I'm getting a lot of messages and emails asking me what I think about Alex Jones. It really kind of doesn't matter what I think about Alex Jones. The guy's popular. Credit where credit is due. He has broken news stories that fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media just would not or could not, because their channel owners and their network owners told them that they can't do it. So hats off to him for that. I'm not taking anything away from Alex Jones on the plane of breaking news stories that really needed to be broken, that people really need to pay attention to. And there are a plethora of stories that he has broken. So I'm not really here to talk about that. I do recognize the value of somebody like the societal value of somebody like Alex Jones. I did confront him back in 2020, January 21st, 2020 to be exact. And I'm going to show you that, but I want to show you why I confronted him and why I'm actually talking about this. First of all, on X, on my platform, I'm there under High Impact Flicks. And I put out a poll the other day and I asked, what is more important, officer safety, public safety, or individual liberty? There's 311 votes with two days left. And the majority of people said that individual liberty, 92%, is far more important than public safety and officer safety. And somebody actually said something really interesting. When individual liberty is the most important thing, then public safety will be secured and we won't have to worry about officer safety, in my opinion. Well said. Well said. So let's get to this Alex Jones thing. Almost everybody and their brother who is even into this kind of thing knows that Alex Jones has been reinstated on the X platform by Elon Musk himself. And the reason that happened is because Elon Musk put out a poll the other day on December 9th that has been seen by 45.2 million people. The poll was responded to by almost 2 million people, and 70.1% said yes, they would like to see Alex Jones reinstated on this platform. Elon Musk says Vox Populi, Vox Dei, which means the voice of the people is the voice of God. In other words, if the voice of the people said it, then it is done. And that's pretty much what he said in a follow-up tweet. He said, the people have spoken and so it shall be. Now Alex Jones has been reinstated. And I put on my channel Alex Jones' first post on Twitter in how long? And here's Alex Jones' first post. He said, tune in to Uncensored. And I said that I'm absolutely for free speech, and I am. I don't think anybody's voice should be excluded from the open square of public debate. No one should be silenced because they aired their opinion. And if you think that they should, then you should be ready to have your voice silenced when somebody disagrees with what you say. I say, just let them speak. That way, they'll let us know exactly who they are. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Censorship, in my opinion, is violence because it forces people into silence. And not only does it force people into silence, it causes people who want to hear what that person would have said, it causes them to be cut off from the message that they want to hear. So it's more than violence against the person who wants to speak. It's also violence against the people, the masses, who want to hear what that person says. So I wanted to just go over real quick my confrontation with Alex Jones. And before I do that, there are a couple things that I had in mind when I walked up to him on this street corner in Virginia. First of all, I wanted to address his protection and applause for Trump as Trump protected and applauds the Federal Reserve in their quantitative easing practices. And if you don't know what quantitative easing is, it literally is just money printing. It's diluting the M2 money supply. And when anybody prints money and dilutes the supply that's already out there, then the dollars that you and I worked for, we have in our pockets, we have in our bank accounts, we have under our mattresses, it gets devalued. In other words, it's the hidden tax called inflation. And the only way that happens is when people dilute the money supply. When that happens, a crime is afoot. A crime has taken place because they're actually stealing the value of your time and labor. That's how serious it is. So I walked up to Alex Jones because he is supporting a man who supports the devaluing of your time and labor by saying it's okay to have quantitative easing. The Federal Reserve is great. The second thing is that Trump supported and initiated the support of red flag laws from the White House. Donald Trump did that. If anybody, I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, anybody comes against your Second Amendment rights, and that's what an extreme risk protection order is, an ERPO, it's a red flag law. It literally is a suspension of Second Amendment rights because the government is declaring that you are a danger to yourself and to others, and they have the right to take your firearms out of your house, even come into your house taking your firearms. So Alex Jones supported Donald Trump, who supported red flag laws. Alex Jones supported Donald Trump, who supported quantitative easing. And the third thing that I wanted to address with Alex Jones on the street corner is why he's supporting Donald Trump, who supports anti-First Amendment rights on college campuses. And that was displayed in his hatred for the First Amendment on college campuses under the auspices of, we've got to do something about anti-Semitism. Let me show you. He signed this order right here, and this was covered right here by NPR.org. NPR is not your friend, but it says Trump signs order against anti-Semitism at college campuses, worrying free speech advocates. The point here is who gets to define what anti-Semitism is, because if we're taking the definition of some of these outlets, like this outlet right here, with this guy right here. Oh, by the way, he signed this on this day right here. There's certain words that I'm just not going to say right here. This organization identifies and defines what anti-Semitism is. And in essence, it is you can't even be critical of certain people. And we know who we're talking about. And that is a violation, a fundamental root violation of the First Amendment. So that's why I walked up to him. Here's the red flag laws. Second Amendment advocates warn Trump over support for red flag laws. We're going to actually hear what Trump says about that in his own words in a second. And before we actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and play the video where I confront him first. And then we're going to go over some of the lies that Alex Jones told me on the street corner. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Here we go. High Impact Vlogs.
God bless you.
Hey, I got a serious question for you. You're against red flag laws, right?
Yeah.
Can you explain why Trump is for putting a federal red flag law into existence?
He said he was, and he backed off of it.
What, do you know when he did? He backed off of it?
Yeah, he said we're not going to do it anymore. I remember what happened.
And what about the... That's a lie. Trump never backed off of the red flag laws all the way through to his last day in office. Never backed off on them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you where he says, hey, Mike, talking to Mike Pence, his vice president, I like take the guns first, due process second. We should do it that way. Anti-First Amendment,
Still very troubling. Trump's doing a lot of stuff I don't like. Very troubling.
Do you call it out?
Yeah.
What about the anti-free speech thing that he did for the campuses under the auspices of anti-Semitism?
Well, he also said you can't block people's speech. He's saying if they organize and try to keep Jews from having their events or whatever, then they would do something. That's how they presented it to him. But I think it's also troubling the language of it can be interpreted wrong. And
such word salad. Listen to how he said that, and he let his language and his words kind of trail off into nothingness. He's saying literally nothing.
Also said you can't block people's speech. He's saying if they organize and try to keep Jews from having their events or whatever, then they would do something. That's how they presented it to him. But I think it's also troubling the language of it can be interpreted wrong.
That's how they presented it to him. That's how the ADL or whoever presented it to Trump. That's what happens with these Trump supporters, is that he's such a hero in their eyes. And he can do no wrong, and he is such a pure personality and character in their eyes that if he is doing something bad, it still can't be his fault. It's somebody else who did it and caused him to believe it and lied to him, and he just believed their lie.
And he just says they can put atrazine basically in the water, which literally makes the frogs gay and also fucks people up. Excuse my French. So
it's
no problems with Trump.
Don't censor yourself on my channel, man.
You'll have to turn right.
I was just ranting about Trump a minute ago.
Oh, were you? I missed
Man, I've been persecuted so much for supporting Trump. I support him because the deep state hates him.
I support him because the deep state hates him. Well, first of all, there's the state and there's freedom. There is no deep state. The state is against you. The state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. And the state is the controlled and operated and owned top to bottom by the Federal Reserve and the central banking bankster cartel. So when you're supporting one of their bankster puppets, I don't care if it's Biden, I don't care if it's Obama, I don't care if it's Trump, I don't care if it's Ronald Reagan. They were all puppets of the Federal Reserve. And you can see by their actions under every single administration, the national debt continued to grow, which means tax cattle slavery deepened and worsened and got more powerful against the people and for the international banksters. So he's involved in a word salad, jujitsu thing here where he's literally speaking nonsense. And anytime he speaks against Trump, it's in hypocrisy. Now, a lot of people come against me because they say I'm a leftist libtard because I'm against. You know what? I'm against anybody who's against my freedoms. I'm against anybody who's against your freedoms. Anybody who has the gall to put out some extreme risk protection order and federal policy that would give the government permission to come into your house and take your firearms against the Second Amendment is your enemy. And if that's all that was wrong with them, that's all I need to know to not only not support them, but to yell on the mountaintops against him saying this guy's a tyrant. I don't care if it's Trump, Biden, Obama. It doesn't matter to me. So that's why I say that somebody like Alex Jones is a very dangerous person because he's got a lot of followers. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of clout. A lot of people really respect what he says. And on the other end, he says things that are respectable and that they check out. And he's saying, in other words, verified. They're verifiable. And he's saying things that fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird MK Ultra Media absolutely will not and cannot say. So I commend him for that. But then a little leaven leavens the whole lump. You can have all this good stuff for 20, 30 years and then just interject a little bit of evil into it and it ruins everything. Everything. Am I saying it wipes it out as far as being on the plane of truth? No, but the personality who's bringing it is obviously not on your side.
The problem is he's got such big bureaucracies around him. They just trick him. They give him files and tell him something's this, it's that.
Why would he put Steve Mnuchin as the Treasury Secretary? He's a Goldman Sachs lifer.
Okay. So how do we get our patriots inside of the government, Mr. Jones?
If Donald Trump is for the American people, why on earth would he put Steve Mnuchin, who was with Goldman Sachs for 14 years, his wife was with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is completely intertwined with JP Morgan and the Rockefellers and the Federal Reserve. He put him in as the fox watching the Federal Reserve or the Treasury hen house. Matter of fact, if I remember right, after Trump signed the $6.2 trillion stimulus package, think about that. That was the extortion. That was the robbery of Americans to the tune of $6.2 trillion with one signature. If I remember right, the first pen that he signed the document with went to Steve Mnuchin.
Now I'm going to sign this, and it's a great honor. $6.2 trillion. I've never signed anything with a T on it. I don't know if I can handle this one, Mitch. We can't chicken out at this point, can we? I don't think so, huh? All right, thank you all. Good, I wanted that to be a nice signature. That was
So listen to this thing about the extreme risk protection order and then listen from Trump's own mouth, not only that he backs the extreme risk protection order, but he likes take the guns first, due process second.
President Trump addressed the steps he believes the U.S. should take after two deadly mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton this weekend. Mr. Trump zeroed in on a number of areas he wants the government to tackle, such as mental health and violent video games. The president also mentioned one step he'd like to take on the topic of gun control.
We must make sure that those judged to pose a grave risk to public safety.
Those judged. Who does the judging? Oh, that's right, the U.S. government. We're going to give the U.S. government the power to define who is and who isn't a risk to themselves and who's not. And we're going to give them the power to decide whether they're going to come into your house at 3 o'clock in the morning and take your guns. That's what he's saying.
Do not have access to firearms and that if they do, those firearms can be taken through rapid due process. That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders.
I have called for them, Trump says. And in this right here, to add insult to injury, not only does he say something extremely anti-Second Amendment, extremely anti-American, he says it when he's sitting next to Dianne Frankenstein. Listen to this.
As a group, we spoke about states taking steps, but the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process so that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession of that individual.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
So you know what that means? That means Donald Trump, whether you like it or not, I mean, you're not going to like me for saying this if you're for Trump or if you're a Republican or whatever. Whether you like it or not, Donald Trump is playing for the same team owners as Joe Biden and as the next president and as the previous president, Bush before him, Clinton, Reagan, Carter, Ford, just name it, all down the line, Obama. They're all playing for the same team owners. Those are the puppet masters. Those are the powers behind the curtain that Edward Bernays, who wrote the book Propaganda, was talking about. Those are the people, the unseen powers. They're the ones who manipulate the mind. They are the ones who call the shots. They're the shot callers. And we know that they're playing for those team owners because the policies that they put out hurt Americans and embolden and empower and enrich the Zio international banking cartel. And that's what he's doing. That's what Alex Jones is doing. So we've got Alex Jones trending right now, and people are saying, hey, what do you think about Alex Jones? It really doesn't matter what I think about Alex Jones. The question is, what is the reality about Alex Jones? Who is he? What is he doing? You know, is it good that he's allowed, free to have a voice on the X platform? Absolutely. But you know what? That's the base. That's the foundation. That's fundamental. Everybody's got the right, the unalienable right to say whatever they want in the public space. If you don't like what somebody's saying, guess what? You don't have to watch it. Nobody's forcing you to watch it. Why are you so disturbed that Alex Jones, or name any Democrat, Rashida Tlaib, why are you so disturbed that they have a voice on a platform? If you don't want to hear that voice, turn it off. Don't turn it on in the first place. Like I said, censorship is violence because it forces a potential speaker into silence. And even beyond that, it cuts off the ability for people who want to hear that message. It makes them unable to hear that message because now the message isn't getting out there. That's my thing with Alex Jones. Let me know if you agree with it. Let me know if you disagree with it. Leave your comments in the comment section. I do read as many of them as I can. None of us is greater than all of us. Wisdom doesn't begin and end with me. You got to speak the truth. You speak the truth even if no one believes you, because truth is truth even if no one does believe you. And a lie is still a lie, even if everyone believes you. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notification icon. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab a shirt, become a channel member, but more importantly, fight for freedom. Know that you have freedoms. Know that you have rights. And then when you know that you have rights, exercise those rights or you will lose them. The price of freedom is now and will always be eternal vigilance. And indifference to this notion is the means by which the people have and will secure their own oppression. I'll see you in the next video.